Hi, I'm Yulia, and this is the News Brief. And today we're going to be talking about the upcoming infamous meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska and what that means for Ukraine and for all of us. And of course, we're going to discuss it in the comments together down below so you don't have to suffer alone and I don't have to suffer alone. So please leave me your questions, suggestions, constructive criticism, anything you might have on your mind, because I appreciate it. I read it. Sometimes I don't respond, but trust me, I do read all of them. Let's go. Well, there is going to be this meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska, and they're going to be talking about, well, what to do with Ukraine and how to achieve peace. According to a lot of different sources, there is a lot of propaganda, there are a lot of theories, a lot of even world famous news outlets are coming out with inside scoops because they want to be the first to report on it. There is a lot being said about Ukraine shedding territories, and Trump has actually confirmed that. He did say that, Ukraine is going to have to lose some territories. There's going to have to be some exchange of territories with Russia, some good for Ukraine, some bad for Ukraine, some bad for Russia. Funny thing here is that we're not exchanging territories because exchange would be Ukrainian territories for Russian territories. This is Ukrainian territory for Ukrainian territory. Also, according to our president and according to the rest of our country, no one is going to be exchanging any Ukrainian territories. No concessions are possible. The Ukrainian constitution prohibits it. The Ukrainian people are not okay with it. Our president is not okay with it. And Donald Trump, of course, even though he said that, Zelensky didn't have to get permission to go kill everyone and start a war, but what he does need permission now to cede territory or exchange territory. Well, he didn't start a war and he didn't go kill anybody. He, in fact, authorized our military to defend us. And it really bothers me that these quotes are kind of coming up again from Trump. And I understand that it's because he's about to meet with Putin. He wants to get in his good graces so that they could have a good conversation and he could be the deal maker that ends the war. Russia is not going to accept anything that Russia doesn't want, and Russia has already said many, many times that they want Ukrainian territories that they don't even hold. The rest of Donetsk, 30%, parts of Zaporizhia that they don't have, Kharkiv, Kherson, right? Those are things that Russia hasn't even invaded. They're not going to be accepting ceding the territory. However, yes, this whole rhetoric of Zelensky started a war, Zelensky doesn't need permission to go kill everyone, however, does need permission to cede territory. Again, didn't kill anyone, did authorize our military to defend ourselves when Russia attacked us. Very different things. And I can't believe that we're back here 3.5 years into this. Well, I mean, I can. You've seen this program many times. You know that I can believe it. It's just still as disappointing as ever each and every time. The other thing that I saw in the news that really did bother me was Trump recently saying that Zelensky hasn't done a thing in the past 3 years to end the war, which is absolutely not true. And again, the only body here that can end the war is Russia, because Ukraine is merely defending itself. And if Ukraine stops fighting, there will be no Ukraine. If Russia stops fighting, there will be no war. So all of these manipulative, and these are incredibly well thought out, very manipulative phrases that are being used in this negotiation. And I just really don't appreciate it. I think it's playing dirty, and Trump knows he's playing dirty. And there is absolutely no reason to do that because, again, he's kind of kissing up to Putin because he wants this conversation to go well. So he is talking down on Ukraine and on Zelensky. He is talking smack about Ukraine and Zelensky and all of our efforts in terms of ending the war. Ukraine has tried. Ukraine has participated in all the negotiations. Ukraine hasn't put forth any ridiculous demands. We just want our territory back and we want Russian troops out. We have held our own, and we have held our own good for the past 3.5 years. Well, this was supposed to be first a 3-day military intervention, then a 3-week military intervention or a special military operation, and then it grew into, well, it always was, but then Russia finally admitted that it's a war. So to be fair, on our behalf, we have done absolutely everything, every single round of negotiations, every single ridiculous request that we've had in order for these negotiations to happen. And we know that they're not going to lead anywhere, right? We're still doing it because we're doing our part. So to say that Zelensky hasn't done anything to end the war is ridiculous. And to try and negotiate Ukrainian territories without Ukraine's consent is also ridiculous, because Trump can say whatever he wants to say. He can stop giving us weapons. He can stop supporting us. He can stop uh, everything that he wants to stop when it comes to the United States. But the only territory he can give Putin is, for instance, Alaska, because it belongs to the United States. However, he's not in charge of Ukraine's territories, and his decision doesn't mean anything. Even if he does decide that he wants to give Russia, I don't know, Lviv, for instance, he just doesn't have the prerogative to do that. Ukrainian authorities won't allow it. Ukraine's constitution won't allow it. Our European allies already said they won't allow it. And again, these are not his territories to trade. He's not the president of Ukraine. He's the president of the United States. So this entire rhetoric is just very inflammatory, very manipulative, and very shitty, to be honest. I'm sorry that I'm using this language, but I feel like, in the world of news that are being presented to you in this very politically correct manner, with these very polished presenters who are saying things in an Oxford Dictionary meets thesaurus style, I want to be real. I want to be down to earth, and I want to be real, and I want to talk about the real situation that's happening that does not take away from any of my knowledge or credibility on the subject. I just don't like polluting my statements with a lot of dictionary words that don't mean anything, that are just buzzwords that sound good. I like to be real. Today there has been some information delivered to us from the intelligence services of military command, which is HUR, Ukrainian military intelligence. And they did say that they found out what Putin is counting on and what he's actually preparing for. He's definitely not preparing for the end of the war and a ceasefire, because he, of course, is seeing this meeting as a victory for Russia, and he wants this meeting to be presented in the media as a victory for Russia. So he could continue doing what he was doing, continue pressuring everyone to abandon Ukraine, continue bombing Ukraine, continue ruining our infrastructure, killing our people in our sleep. And basically, all of this is just for Putin to play pretend diplomacy, but in reality, just stretch out time. There are zero signs, just like before, that Russians have gotten a signal to start preparing for a ceasefire or a post-war situation. That's not it. On the contrary, Russia actually is moving its troops and all of its military strength and power in such a way that they would be ready for new assaults, and they would be ready for attacks, and they would be ready for push-throughs. If anyone is preparing for peace, it's not Putin, and that is according to Zelensky. Now, what I do want to say is that Trump meeting Putin in Alaska is, in fact, a victory in itself, because that puts an end to Putin's international isolation. Last time and the only time that he was able to go somewhere was Mongolia, and Mongolia is a signatory to the ICC. And to be fair, they were supposed to arrest him, but everyone at that point basically put it down to, well, they're too weak, they're too dependent on China, they're too dependent on their relationship with China, they can't arrest him. It would just be like, political and social suicide for them, because they're a weaker country, politically and militarily speaking. Now, the US is not, but the US is also not a signatory to the ICC. That signature was withdrawn, if I'm not mistaken, in 2003, although the US and Canada together are the largest bodies, are the bodies that have arrested the largest amount of criminals as per international criminal court orders. But the US, of course, is not going to do that. Now, Canada could technically ask to do that by a treaty, but of course we all know that no one's going to do that. And so that is the problem, is that letting Putin come to Alaska effectively ends his international isolation. Because if the United States is not going to arrest him, then what's to say he can't go to Italy? What's to say he can't go to France? Basically, for him, he can breathe out. He can stop hiding. He can stop being scared that if he lands on a territory of an allied country, he's going to be arrested, even though he's an international criminal. So yeah, this in itself, this meeting, the fact that anyone is still talking to Russia, the fact that the fact that Trump is going into this meeting with Ukrainian territories being ceded in mind, the fact that Russia is still getting these deals that are genuinely better for Russia than for anyone else is a very good indicator of the fact that it's a small victory to them. So this entire meeting, no matter what comes out of it, no matter what repercussions come from it, other than Russia just being emboldened, and I mean, why wouldn't they be? Again, this is just another ice wall that they broke through. This is just another boundary that they didn't know if they could cross, because up until this day, Putin didn't know that if he would be arrested if he landed in an allied Western country or a European country or any country. And now he does. He knows that he's not going to be arrested because, well, Donald Trump is going to welcome him in Alaska. So yeah, another ice wall that was broken, another expectation and another form of justice that is not going to be enforced. And all of that just gives Russia signals that they can continue crossing boundaries and they can continue acting like they were, because they're going to go unpunished. After all, you know, the country who's Ukraine's biggest ally and who is Ukraine's strongest ally and most militarily supplied ally is not going to do anything about it. They're just going to invite him to dinner and to talk, and continue talking to him no matter how many times he says the same thing and declines any reasonable offers and puts forth the most ridiculous offers you could ever imagine. And that's all I have for you for today. Unfortunately, there is not much more information available right now, so let's monitor it, and I'm sure we're going to be able to catch up about it on Thursday and then subsequently on Monday. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this brief and these little breakdowns, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on all your notifications. And as per usual, please send it to a friend, give it a like, and of course, leave a comment. Give me your questions, suggestions, literally anything you have on your mind. I promise I'll be reading them and I will be responding to them. See you next time.